Hello everybody, welcome to another One Leeds video. Welcome to Connor here, and we are back here with a little bit of a profile on Leeds United's rumoured interest in someone by the name of Christian Pulisic, the American sensation, Captain America, who is really struggling at Chelsea at this moment in time. And I'm here to give you guys a little bit of my opinion when it comes to, would he fit in at Leeds United? Would it be the right signing? Would that connectivity work with him and Jesse Marsch? And what is next for the American when it comes to his footballing career? Because he really is at a crossroads at this moment in time. But before we start the video, everybody, we had a video out yesterday. We had a video out the day before that. We have videos on the Patreon 2 times a week. Go and check that out. Links in the description below. And guess what? The best trio in Leeds United Sports Entertainment. Yes, the debrief is back tonight, everybody, from 7 p.m. I said last night that it was going to be out. Unfortunately, we just couldn't get our brains together for that one. Blame me. I will take the blame for that one. Yeah, so that'll be back tonight. So it's going to be really exciting to chat with the lads. It's been a long time. And, you know, as I said yesterday, guys, we're not just going to put out content for the sake of putting out content. When we go on the debrief, we actually want to be able to talk. We actually want to give our opinions, insightful thoughts, we hope anyway. We'll be back with the Predictor League. We'll be back with our thoughts on Aston Villa. We'll be back with our thoughts on Leeds United at this moment in time. So check that out for 7 p.m. tonight. Christian Pulisic, 2010, was signed by Chelsea from Dortmund. The left winger cost 58 million quid and came with a real expectation on his back. Captain America, as I've already referenced in this video, he's the American prodigy. He really is the best player the States have probably ever had. His talent is up there. And I really think there is a move for this lad which catapults him back up there. Whether or not that's Leeds United, whether or not that's Newcastle United, we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, with Newcastle at this moment in time, you look at the progression in terms of where his career would be at. Maybe Europe, maybe Champions League, very, very soon. But you look at Leeds United, and there are links there. You know, you look at the owners, San Francisco 49ers, who are probably going to be able to invest in someone like Christian Pulisic, and that will give them the ability then to really globalise and market to the American people, of which we have done so far. So I think that would be a massive, massive coup for Leeds United in terms of marketability of the side. But on top of that as well, you've got a real player in there. And for me, he's suffering with a lot of confidence at the minute when you look at someone like him, when you look at his ability, when you look at the projection of where he can get at. I think he's struggling with a lot of confidence. Now, connecting once again with someone like Jesse Marsch, with the San Francisco 49ers, you know, that American basis, Tyler Adams, Brendan Harrison, we saw them talk after the Chelsea game. That might be the perfect rocket that he needs to get his career ignited once more. So, I mean, when you look at someone like Christian Pulisic, I think there's definitely the understanding that he's done it in the Premier League so far, in my opinion. He has done it. You know, you look at the 19-20 season, he's got 9 goals, 6 assists, and that season he was absolutely on fire. He was unbelievable, netted a hat-trick against Burnley. It took him 2 months to do so. The reason behind that is because I think the expectation down there is absolutely massive. You've got world-class wingers everywhere. I do think Pulisic can hang with those world-class wingers. However, when you look at somewhere like a campaign like last season, you can't really shoehorn an argument for Christian Pulisic getting in the side above Havertz and above Mason Mount. You just can't, unfortunately. I think they tried him in the false nine as well, rotated him with Lukaku a little bit. That was disrupted, and we'll get onto why it was disrupted and why it could be a problem in just a second. But the pressure is definitely huge for what was he, 22 years old when he was signed from Dortmund, number 10, going into Chelsea. You know, they became European champions, obviously, that year, I believe, or the year afterwards. And that level of expectation is going to be huge. He was a staple signing, 60 million. It isn't cheap. And there was a lot of hype, even from the American nation on his back, of course. So I think the big problem with Pulisic when he went to Chelsea as well is because he was a left winger, because he was a very decent dribbler, he was naturally compared to Eden Hazard. Now that's going to be a problem because Eden Hazard is one of the best players the Premier League has ever seen. So when I'm talking about the burden, the number 10, Chelsea, the players around him, it's not only that, it is the fact that he's being compared to one of the best wingers in Premier League history. You know, Eden Hazard, they're obviously, in my opinion as well, they're 2 different players. Christian Pulisic is direct, he's explosive. And that's where I think it'd work with Leeds United. I really think he'd be able to fit into our system. Whereas Eden Hazard is a mercurial dribbler. He's fabulous. He's a sexy footballer. And I think it's a very, very different profile to what Christian Pulisic was. And it's a disservice to them both. You know, it's a disservice to Christian Pulisic to be compared to Eden Hazard, and Hazard to be compared to Christian Pulisic. It's like Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi. 2 different profiles, 2 different players. And he's statistically different and statistically effective in his own way. In terms of Christian Pulisic, he uses acceleration, excellent balance. He's very good with both feet. He's very good in terms of his shot power, in terms of just lacing through the ball, left, right foot. Excellent at that. He's clearly worked on his game from a very, very young age in terms of going down. I think I've seen an interview with him before where he said he used to go down to the park with his dad, left foot, right foot. His dad wouldn't let him use his right foot. It'd always be his left foot, left foot, left foot as well. Mixing it up. He's very, very good at carving space for himself, carrying the ball at a great distance, and we're going to come on to the stats in just a little bit. And what's very underrated about someone like Christian Pulisic as well is his ability to intricate a pass, his football IQ. I think that's very, very underrated. And you match all that with close control, you match all that with his defensive willingness. He's a real talent, and this is what I keep saying, someone who would fit really, really good, really well into this Leeds United setup. Now, the big problem from 2019-20, 21-22, and we're going to judge it on those two campaigns because we can't really talk about Christian Pulisic because obviously we've only had a little bit of this season that's happened. The big problem is it's injuries. If you combine those two campaigns, he's missed 27 games for Chelsea. That's massive, and the reason that's massive is because if you're missing those games, it's going to affect your confidence, which it clearly has with Christian Pulisic. It's going to affect your synergy within the team. There's potential for the club to go out and get another winger to maybe replace you as well, and you've got to compete with that individual. Things change, managers change, as they have done at Chelsea, as they do every week at Chelsea. Expectations change, and it's a massive difficulty for someone from a different country as well to be coming into obviously he was playing at Germany with Dortmund, but America by trade, coming to the Premier League and being able to hit the ground running straight away. And I think in that first campaign, he was much better than he was in his second campaign. But the injury, the post-lockdown period of 8 games in 2019 to 2020, where Pulisic got 4 goals and 2 assists, that's where he was exceptional. He was back for a period of time, fantastic in that period. But the problem is, it's from an observer's point of view, the player with immense talent is not blessed with an immense fitness/injury record, which is always going to hamper him. And then, obviously you're going to struggle then to build momentum. Another interesting part of Christian Pulisic is when you look at his metrics in comparison to peers, other left wingers, it's actually very, very good. When you're talking about progressive passes, when you're talking about all the industrial sides of football, his metrics are very, very high. The problem is, when you talk about progressive passing, when you talk about shots on goal, when you talk about shot accuracy, when all these little percentages that we see when it comes to FBref, when it comes to, all the statisticians putting stuff out online, when he plays, he has excellent metrics. And that's always put out by Americans. I see it online when it comes to, he needs help in here, there and everywhere. If he was playing, he'd be the creative spark, as we've already mentioned. He's very good at passing the ball, creating chances. The problem is, it's the goals and assists. You would look at Christian Pulisic and you would say he's got all the characteristics you would expect from a decisive goal-scoring winger, but then is underwhelmed against Heung-min Son, has underwhelmed against Sadio Mane, has underwhelmed against Phil Foden, underwhelmed against Riyad Mahrez. When you look at someone like Heung-min Son, who last season got, 10 goals, or it was 10 assists, 17 goals in 37 games. They're the numbers when you're talking about world-class wingers in the Premier League that you need to be matching. And that's the problem with Christian Pulisic at the minute. And he's definitely dropped off from the 2021 season to what he was the year beforehand. As I said, the base metrics are very comparable. He receives enough progressive passes and has a number of good touches in attacking areas, finds himself in incredible spaces, which is why he's a dangerous player, because he's always going to find himself in spaces, which is naturally probably going to generate chances, and the opposition are going to focus on him because he's such a good player and he's picking up spots in the opposition half. It is striking, though, that when I'm looking at his metrics now, his expected goals, his assists are not high. But it, when it comes to the actual output, when you are looking at goals and assists, that it's nowhere near the likes of Son, the likes of Mahrez, the likes of Mane, Rashford, etc. But he does get himself into good areas, does get himself into very good areas. He still has a long way to go. We have to bear in mind that he's only 24 years of age as well. But what can't be denied about him is the talent he has. But the problem he has, aside from the attacking areas of his game that he does obviously need to improve on, is the fact that he's never going to be an automatic starter for Chelsea. He hasn't got an argument now to start in front of Luke. Well, he couldn't have an argument back then to start in front of Lukaku, in front of Mason Mount and Havertz, as I've said. But there were elements last season, especially in the Champions League, prior to obviously when Chelsea was successful. He was very, very good. So would he fit into a Leeds side? I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this one develops, because I think he's a very, very talented player. I think the connectivity, as I mentioned before, with someone like Jesse Marsh, with someone like Brendan Aronson, with someone like Tyler Adams, with maybe Kai Wagner, with maybe the San Francisco 49ers, that whole American link, if that's brought into one, it'd be interesting to see if Christian Pulisic would be attracted by that. That's what I'm interested to see. That's what I'm fascinated to see with this whole development, because people are counting Leeds out. People are looking at this and saying no chance, but stranger things have happened, and it'd be interesting to see how him and Sinisterra would work with the change wings. Obviously, one operates on the left, the other operates on the left. Is this going to be something that Leeds United will go for? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, everyone. Do you agree? Do you disagree? If you are American, fascinated to hear your thoughts. Catch us for the debrief tonight. Catch us with some more Patreon videos as well. Links in the description below, everyone, and I'll see you in a bit.